What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Combat Sports Media YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about, breaking down, and giving out a prediction for the upcoming Joseph Diaz versus Devin Haney WBC World Lightweight title fight. Now, this fight will be taking place at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, and it will be shown live on the DAZN app. Now, before I go any further, please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, especially if you enjoy my content. Now, let's talk about Joseph Diaz first. Joseph Diaz is a former U.S. Olympian, and he debuted at 126, or should I say he campaigned as a featherweight in the beginning of his career. And he really had to earn his title shot because, let's face it, at first, he wasn't the biggest puncher, and it's always more difficult to get your shine and earn a title shot when you don't have much power, especially when you're Mexican American and that's what your fans look for, because that's what Joseph Diaz is, and he's from the Los Angeles area, and we all know what those fans are looking for. So he really had to earn his title shot, and he ended up winning it, but had some weight issues. Ended up moving up to 130, because I believe he won his first title at 126. And then he moved up to 130 and beat Kevin Farmer, which to this day is probably one of his biggest wins for the IBF 130-pound world title. And he had weight problems shortly after winning that title and ended up moving to lightweight. Beat Javier Fortuna in his last fight for the WBC interim lightweight world title. So he put himself in line for the championship, and that's why this fight is happening. And style-wise, Joseph Diaz is a southpaw, and he's a boxer with good skills. He's got good hand speed. He's got good IQ. He's got good heart, he's a tough kid. His power, I feel, has gotten better, and as he's gotten up in weight, even though obviously he's not a one-punch knockout artist by any means, he's a busy guy at that too. He loves throwing combinations, and he's always working. So you could probably classify him as a volume boxer, because he's a boxer, but he's throwing volume. He loves combinations. That's pretty much his thing. Like I said, very tough kid. Has a lot of heart to go along with the skills and the IQ of his. He's not necessarily the most talented guy, He is talented, but people like Gary Russell are a lot more talented. It's not that hard to find more talented fighters, but as we all know, talent isn't everything. So that's Joseph Diaz. Moving on to Devin Haney. Devin Haney is a much less proven fighter. He holds the WBC lightweight title, but I hate saying that because the interim title that Joseph Diaz just won, beating Javier Fortuna, to me is worth more than the so-called world title that Devin Haney has right now, because Devin Haney didn't even beat anybody to get that world title. And Lomachenko had the world title, the WBC world title, and before his fight with Teofimo Lopez, the WBC decided to strip him and elevate him to franchise champion, whatever the hell that's called. But to me, I look at that as like super champion and regular champion. So I guess they elevated him. They stripped the regular one and gave it to Devin Haney through email, and because he didn't even fight anybody to get it. And then they elevated Lomachenko to franchise champion, and Teofimo ended up beating him, and now he's the franchise champion. So he got the franchise champion instead of the regular title. So to me, this is like a secondary belt, but that's just the way I look at it, you know what I mean? And that's the reasoning for it. But Devin Haney is, he fights out of the orthodox stance. He's about 5'10" in height, so he's much longer and taller than Joseph Diaz, who's about maybe 5'7". And to me, he fights like he has a temperament of a 36-year-old Floyd Mayweather, which, you know, it is what it is, but that's not what I'm looking for in a 23-year-old fighter, or however old he is. You know what I mean? If you're a young, talented fighter with all this ability, then why do you have the temperament of a 38-year-old or 36-year-old Floyd Mayweather? I mean, when Floyd Mayweather was 23, he was knocking heads off. You know what I mean? And he was actually brawling a lot. You know what I mean? If you guys go look at some of his older fights, a lot of them were just brawls, man, that he would always come up on top in. And he always had the good defense, don't get me wrong, but he loved to engage. And that's what I want to see out of Devin Haney. And we're just not seeing it, and I think I know the reason. Is because, number one, he doesn't have much power. Number two, he can't really take a shot. So he fights the way he fights because of those intangibles. That's just my opinion, but time will tell if I'm right or wrong. Now, he is fast, he is talented, he's more talented than Joseph Diaz in my opinion, but again, a lot less experience, undefeated. His biggest win is against a washed-up Jorge Linares, which to me doesn't mean much because Jorge Linares, we saw Antonio DeMarco destroy him 10 years ago for the very same title at the very same weight. So, you know. And so on to the prediction. I expect Devin Haney to win a tough fought decision. I think the cards and the judges will be in his favor, and style-wise, it's a good fight for him. He's more athletic, more talented than Joseph Diaz, and more longer, taller, bigger, and he's a guy that's going to be fighting at welterweight, possibly, you know, one day. So I don't think Joseph Diaz is going to knock him out, which in my opinion is like one of the few ways you could actually win, or the only way you could win. So I see Devin Haney winning a tough, hard-fought decision. There you have it, folks. That's my breakdown, my preview breakdown and prediction for the upcoming WBC lightweight title fight on the Zone. There's a lot more to come on the channel. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Much love, and God bless.